Hey yo, what is a cipher?
Let my people go.
The knowledge of the cipher is to enlighten you.
Where you think the cipher come from? The gods. Cause you tried to jump the cipher and it goes this way.
Welcome to The Cypher, a weekly podcast that brings you conversations with the most interesting figures in hip-hop and culture. I'm your host, Sean Sotero. This was episode 66, a special Passover conversation with Pharaoh Monch, recorded on the April 2014 release of his album, PTSD. Pharaoh is joined for the talk by his manager, Guy Route. If you like this interview, Pharaoh is actually one of our very few three-time guests on The Cypher. You can go to thecyphershow.com/archive to find his other two visits, including an earlier one where he spoke in depth on an early draft of what would then become PTSD. In the almost year since this album's release, it's been met with huge critical acclaim and is generally regarded as maybe the finest moment of Pharaoh's long career. I personally have seen everyone from jaded rap industry veterans to returning soldiers blown away by the album's superb music and powerful story. If you like this episode of The Cypher, make sure to find us on iTunes. From there, you can rate, review, and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. The more 5-star reviews we get, the better chance we have of continuing to get more great guests. And now, on the very day he let his album go, here's Pharaoh Monch. I'm here with our first three-time guest, first Triple Crown winner, Pharaoh Monch.
Hey, man, what's good, man? What's good, Sean?
What's going on? And Guy over here, providing color commentary. And appropriately enough, on I can't resist pointing out that we are on the eve of Passover, and I'm here with the Pharaoh. So let my people go already. What's the holdup?
Let my people go.
That's something you played with on your records.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
on the last album.
Too high to get over, too low to get under.
Let my people go.
I make it feel so good, you don't need to wonder.
Let my people go.
I take away the storm cloud, the rain, the thunder.
Let my people go.
Somebody say,
Let my people go.
somebody say, let my people go. Miraculously.
I mean, it's a very familiar tune. Those tunes like kind of stay in my head like classic records from any classic thing from Frank Sinatra to classic gospel. So I had to do that because hello, Pharaoh, let my people. I had to do that.
So obviously we're talking to you the day before PTSD, your new album is out there in the world, and longtime listeners to the show remember we talked to you in October 2012, I think it was, when this was just supposed to be an EP. Can you talk a little bit about the process of expanding it from what I heard back then, the sort of maybe 4 or 5 songs into what it is now?
I mean, the War album was really good for us, and it was successful, and the fans supported. And so we were like, let's try to stop this trend of it taking so long to put another project out. and understanding how the genre has changed, and it's just, artists are more accessible and putting out more music. We tried to follow suit. So we went straight in, and we were like, what better uh, topic would there be to follow war than with PTSD? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then when I really thought about it, I realized that there was some real issues there, and I didn't just want to deal with it from a cool aspect of taking a name or something that was, on the tongue of people or the president because of soldiers coming back and trying to acclimate themselves back into society, something that was becoming prevalent in society, but really dig into it, dealing with my own issues and really, just try and be a little bit more transparent. And as I examined the concept, I was like, this would be great in this story following war if you talk more about what are your own dealings with mental issues and mental health.
Wow. And so the stuff I heard back then, things like, Broken Again and that batch of songs, have they changed significantly since then?
I think those are the songs that spurred me to make this a full project and round it off and try and make it long playing. And I saw where it could be a full-length film instead of a documentary or a short film. I saw the scenes play out. I saw how realistically the truth about it is you roller coaster. Well, I roller coaster, and I roller coaster between the highs and lows. And so, where I was, I first came up with PTSD and Broken Again and some of the lows. I was like, well, what about the anxiety? What about the energy of it all? And so that's when I was like, I need to recruit some MCs for Rapid Eye Movement.
I bear arms like button downs without the sleeves. Manic, depressive, and possessive like apostrophes. My psychiatrist waived the doctor fees. Wanna wave the pistol and said, listen, quit watching me so I can breathe.
And, just dealing with sleeping patterns and how difficult rest is when you're dealing with them situations. You don't get any sleep when you're dealing with anxiety. Really, you don't rest well, just metaphorically, as well as some redemption with Talib Kweli and the Dream record and so on and so forth. So at first, when I saw how great an idea it was to make it a short, I was starting to see how it plays out as a full spectrum, but for all of the, the truths of what you deal with when you're dealing with mental issues.
Yeah. And so the narrator of the record, right, and this is one of the things that's so crazy about it, it's you and it's not you, right? Many of the songs have almost like three layers. They have the point of view of this like PTSD-riddled veteran who has problems with either love or drugs or both.
Yes.
And then there's another layer in which it's you sort of talking about your career and your personal life.
Yes.
How'd you manage to keep that going where songs have two or even three layers at the same time?
I knew that I was going a little bit off kilt, but I respect my fans to, figure that out and hear that. And okay, he's referencing soldiers when he says, surgeon to the temple.
No one can hear a word of what I was saying. Surge in the temple where I was spraying. Now flashbacks wake me abruptly when police pass by. Lights flash, if I could only put the past on the flash drive, I'd, for peace of mind, install an external drive so I'd be more driven internally to survive.
Obviously, Pharaoh wasn't in, fucking Iraq in the last 3 years, so he's making a reference and it's metaphorical, but he's giving props to and alluding to what soldiers go through and referencing it back to what he's dealing with himself. And, you know, it's an ode to the respect I have for the listener, as well as me being an artist and me being like, I think I could take a leap of faith and stretch out that way and think that you'll get it.
And your asthma, which you've been open about having, you've talked about throughout your career, but I feel like this record, it plays really more of a central role in some ways. Can you talk about that a little bit?
It's a major role because of that ailment landed me in the hospital and dealing with recovery from that severe attack that I had on heavy medication. And so from those different cocktails of medication, I've been dealing with asthma all my life, but I never had a stint in my adult life where I was admitted in the hospital for so long. And so I had never experienced the medication to that effect intravenously. So when I got out of the hospital, it was like I couldn't even understand the effects, the side effects of the medication. So I went into a deep depression, and that's basically the point or the perspective that the album is from.
Wow. Where that becomes, I think, most clear in a funny way is on the side effects skit, where you kind of mock the different side effects of asthma medication and of like the way it's sold to people. What inspired you to write that?
I hope that skit relates to anybody who has any family who takes any medication, because all medication has side effects. And you watch these commercials and they're like, you know, are you experiencing these problems? Well, we have this medication. And then at the end of the commercial, where it's supposed to help you with sleeping, you know, Ambien or whatever, it's like, your fucking cock is gonna fall off at the end of the fucking day. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why would I take that? You know, just to sleep better. You know, and it's a you fucked if you do, you fucked if you don't type of situation. So I thought that skit would be funny.
Yeah. And on PTSD, on the song, you talk about asthma affecting the Black community.
My immune system lacked diplomatic immunity when asthma attacks the Black community. Where do you go from there? Long walk, short pair. Thought I knew.
And I thought that was notable because so many people see their diseases as an individual thing. And so how'd you first become aware of asthma as sort of a wider social issue?
You know, when you look at the scope of writing a full length, you try to look at all the perspectives. And the main one was the soldiers who I sympathize with, and it's really, patriotism is a funny thing in the Black community as well. And you look at it, and I think we all understand patriotism to your crew and your country and all of that. But then it's a weird thing in Black community as well. So dealing with PTSD, I looked at that situation. I looked at the post-traumatic slave syndrome situation in terms of looking even at some things with